Hey, so we're not back at the studio yet. First thing to get out there. There's just something I had to shoot here, and I had a little extra time. No, we're not all back filming together and stuff, but some of us are getting vaccinated and stuff, and just as it trickles down the line, we'll get there, man. You'll know when we're when we're all filming back in the studio. But with that said, like I said, I had a little extra time here, so I was like, all right, well, I just wrapped up season 3 of Clone Wars, and really wanted to talk about it because, man, this is. I don't want to say this is where it gets good because it was always pretty good, but this is where it's like. I gotta watch the rest of it. Because before, I remember I was talking with Heather and she was saying, man, I can't believe there was a time where I thought I could take or leave this show. And that's kind of how it started off. Like it's good, but it's not like, oh, I have to finish this, kind of thing. Where with season 3 now, I'm like, this world is so fascinating and some of these characters are so fascinating and I just want to... I can't believe I'm saying this about like a world that takes place in the prequels, but it's like, I want to know more about it. I want to see what happens with everybody. I don't want to see, the outcome with some of these characters. And some of the outcome, but this was just so fascinating and so engaging. And once again, because I did get a few backwards when I talked about season 2, I do have my little cheat sheet here of the episodes that were on there. But it's like the standout ones really stand out. Well, first of all, what I was saying before with getting them confused, the ones where it was sort of showing Ahsoka about politics and going to Mandalore, and even then I think I got like the wrong senator with that one. I confused these two senators. So that's this season where they show Ahsoka actually several people in the series about, just the political pros and cons and what you have to do to play the game and stuff, and how it's not fair and how it's not always as black and white, but it's kind of what you got to do. And that sadly, there's a lot of truth to that. There's always going to be a lot of truth to that. So the stuff I said there, just, connect that to here. But with that said, I remember the one that started out with, and again, I almost got this confused with season 2, I can tell you the name of it, the Clone Cadets episode, which is just following these clones trying to get through their final phase of testing, and this group does not work well as a team. They all have different failings, and there's kind of like this janitor clone, I guess, that was kind of like, just didn't make the cut, but, like, he's not sad either. Like, he likes his life okay, and he wants to see these other cadets, rise up, and he knows he has, they have it in them, and he actually makes a few appearances later, and it's just like, the clones might be my favorite characters. I know it's so strange, but they really might be, and... I remember there was even one where it's like, in one of these episodes where like one of them dies and one of them shouts, Echo! And I'm like, I know Echo! Oh no! Not Echo! It's one of those things where it's like, even though, like, I don't know if I could go into like a super deep dive into like each character's like backstory and their wants and everything, I still do grow an attachment to them. These clones and the way they, I know I said this in the other ones, but the way they, they paint the helmets a little differently, the way the haircuts are a little different, all of that, I just thought was so fascinating. So just to start off with that, getting you to like the clones and make these real attachments with them, like even more than you already have, I think was very impressive. There's 2 in this season that really stood out to me. I shouldn't even say 2 episodes because they're not really doing that as much they are, but they're having a lot of like interlinked episodes. Like sometimes they did that in the other seasons, but this one's like, 3 to like 5 episodes linked together, to sort of tell one story, and most of the time it's warranted, it's needed. Some of the times I'm like, you could have trimmed a couple off there, but the one that really stood out to me was the one with where you go into the and maybe not, a little bit of backstory, but more the home world of Ventress and just the way this world works. And they're called like the Nightsisters, and all the women are like on one side of the planet, all the men are on the other side, and the women have these powers that give them like complete control, and the men are almost like Spartan babies where they're trying to like train them to be like the best ones, and even then they still can't take down like these witches. They call them witches and stuff, they're just molded to be like these perfect fighting machines. And the same thing with the women too, they're kind of like these ninja witches, and just the whole way this world worked fascinated me. But on top of that, they had a good story to go along with it, because Count Dooku, which will always sound strange, it's still a bad name in my opinion, but he gets tired of Ventress, which is a great name. That's a wonderful name. Just sounds evil, and she looks exactly how the name sounds. He's done with her, so he essentially fires her, kind of literally leaves her to be shot at, and she wants revenge. So they hatch this, diabolical plot to try and get this assassin trained, but eventually turn against Dooku. And within that, there's also plots of sneaking in, and you go into a little bit of like the lore and the history of like how their powers work. And all of it is just so fascinating. This whole world I was just like intrigued by. Even when they landed on this place, the planet just looks so freaking cool. So all of that I just instantly fell in love with. I like I said, that's the point where I'm like, I gotta know what's gonna happen in this show. And I think this is also the season where I guess they were sort of toying with the idea of Darth Maul coming back. Remember when Solo came out, and I said, what's up with the Darth Maul thing? Everyone, aha, Clone Wars. So now I kind of know. I mean, that's now a nice lead into that. But the other one I really, really got into, I mean, this was like Last Jedi territory in terms of like adding new stuff, but really going all the way with it, was the one with the Citadel one, the one where they land on the or is it altar of Mortis? Oh, I don't know. You know the one I'm talking about, the big yin yang temple place where there's like a good, I don't even know what they are, like entity of the Force and a bad entity of the Force, and they form like this yin and yang, and there's this guy in the middle. They're like his kids, and he's trying to keep them in balance, and Anakin was supposed to be the one to like give them balance, to essentially kind of like be their mentor, their father, and just he's shown what he's going to be. And it's one of the few times where they kind of retcon something where I'm like, no, that's okay. That was really clever, because Anakin has shown what he's going to be, by the dark side of the Force here, the dark sun, whatever. And he says, all right, you're right. I'm just going to help you. I'm going to help spread the dark side, because it's just pointless. I know what I'm going to be. So he completely gives in, and eventually Ahsoka and Obi-Wan knock him out or whatever, and they erase his memory of that, and they don't know what he saw. They just know we had to erase this, or the guy in charge does that, and he has no memory of it. And that's just one of those things where it's like, usually I'm like, oh, what, they're gonna act like it never happened? What? But I mean, because it does happen later on down the line, and obviously it didn't show at all the part of any of the redemption, like in Return of the Jedi. I felt that really was so intriguing, and just how this, again, because there always is kind of that yin and yang to the Force in this world, the light side and the dark side, but just kind of this idea that there is kind of this battle going on just kind of between these three, and trying to keep that balance, and how it works, how it doesn't work. And to me, it was just the right amount of vague. Like, I didn't want to know too much more. I'm like, no, let me connect some of those dots. Let me guess how this all, kind of ties everything together. But just plant the seeds in there, and that's what I felt they did. So that I found really, really intriguing. And like I said, just sort of like what Last Jedi kind of did, where it started to make me look at this world a little differently, and how it operates, and well, what is ethical? What's not ethical? As always, just the light side is good, and that's it. But it's kind of like, nah, there is kind of some gray area in there. So I really like that they did that. Let's see. So there's one. I want to get your guys' feedback on this, because there's one called Evil Plans, and it's where essentially, I don't know if this was meant to be funny or not. I think it was, but I'm not sure. I found it funny either way. It's where R2-D2 and C-3PO, they have to go look for some fruits for like this like rare fruit that's like for some sort of big get together with Padme and Anakin, and something happened to the fruits that's supposed to be like on this cake that the senator likes, whatever. Supposed to go to the store, market, whatever. And C-3PO gets captured, and R2-D2 goes to a spa, and he assumes that C-3PO is right behind him. So you just cut back and forth but it's not done with funny music. It's cut back and forth between C-3PO just getting tortured, just straight up getting tortured, electrocuted and questioned and screaming, and R2-D2 just in the spa getting pampered, and they make him all shiny and stuff like that. And like I said, it wasn't edited or played like it was for laughs. They were trying to play it serious, which kind of made it even more funny. These are just the two things going on, but they didn't play the funny music over it. So do you think that was meant to be a humorous moment? Because it is still a main character getting tortured, and you see R2, being pampered. So, I think I took it as meant to be funny, but one of the things I like about this show is that it is done so in its own unique way and sort of its own unique pacing, and they have such a different way of showing stuff that I can't always figure it out, and I like that. I like that they're just sort of showing what's going on, and you can just sort of connect whatever you want to it, whether you see it as something really tragic or really funny, or both. So love that. Love all that. Let me see. I know there's another one before I get to the last ones here. Although I'm not seeing it. The one with the assassin. I think it's called the Assassin. Yes. And then the one before that, the Academy. Both of them were good Ahsoka episodes because you have one of her as a teacher and then one of her. I don't want to say it's a student again, but sort of trying to learn whether to trust herself or doubt herself, because with the one where she's a teacher, you got these cadets trying to figure out when it's right to step up and when it's right to be quiet. And that's a very tough thing, not just for young people to learn, but just anybody to learn. It's really rough, because there are times, as you see in the political episodes of this, there are times to be quiet. It's no, not yet. Hold off. Wait for it. There's what's worth losing more here, kind of thing. So you have sort of these... these plans going on where these drinks are being poisoned, and a lot of the children on the planet are being poisoned, and these kids go and kind of find out who's behind it and everything, but they're also trying to confront the person about it, and people don't believe them, and some kind of do, some don't. I mean, they're still breaking the rules. So, and they're trying to figure out between what they're taught from Ahsoka and what they act on. And again, it's not done in such an obvious way where it's no, clearly this is good and clearly this is bad. It's it's a blurred line. I really like how this show kind of blurs that line more and more. And with that said, too, you have Ahsoka sort of going into that with the next episode, the Assassin episode, where she's getting these visions that Padme's going to be assassinated, but none of them are quite coming true, and how she's seeing these visions, what's coming true, what isn't, and so forth. So again, there's a lot of that self-doubt, but it's also proven that sometimes the doubt was correct. She shouldn't have done it, but then other times it does come true. So that kind of stuff is really hard, and I like that it really builds on, again, I think kind of what several elements of Star Wars, sort of tap into with the whole thing of, doubting yourself and doubting the Force and faith. I mean, definitely having, a faith in a lot of stuff, but then having too much faith. So I love that balance. I think this is the one. I don't recognize the episode name, sadly, but I think there's a long, is it the... Oh, no. Oh, you know what? I think I got the titles wrong. My apologies. The Citadel is the escape episode. Sorry about that. That's where it's a great big escape to get these people out of a prison. So if you're gonna go in the comments and say you got the wrong episode, I know now. Got it. I sadly do not know the name of of the one that was kind of the yin and yang episode. I'm sort of losing that one here. Yeah, because that's the one thing is I do lose track of the titles. My bad. My memory's awful, so I apologize for that. Oh, maybe it was Altar of Mortis. Anywho, or Overlords. I don't know. You know the episode I'm talking about. I'm terrible with the names. But with that episode where they go to the prison, they try to get people out. You have, Tarkin, right? The Peter Cushing character. A young version of him that I love how first him and Anakin don't get along. And then the more they kind of talk, Anakin's he's got a point. I mean, that's fun foreshadowing. I like that. That's much better than, oh, hello, R2-D2, I can tell we're going to be friends. Like, that's lame. I like seeing these two talk. They don't agree, and then the more he kind of listens, like, he's kind of showing he has that wiggle room, that will lead to ultimately going to the dark side. But it did go really long. That was something like 5 episodes, man. I was just like, you could have done this in 2 or 3, I don't know. But also, man, some grisly death scenes in that one. Actually, in a lot of the, in several episodes, there's one where it's like these doors are closing, and you see one of the stormtroopers trying to sneak through the hatch, and you see a door close, and you know the next one's coming, you just hear, ah! And he's like, we have a man down. It's like, Jesus Christ! Like, there's a sense of just because you don't show blood, it's okay. In my opinion, that's true. That's totally my belief. That's like the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, Teen Titans and all that stuff, Adventure Time and Steven Universe. I like when they can go that dark and it feels warranted. It feels like, yes, this is just the type of world it is. The kids that watch this are ready for this. And no little kids are going to be watching Clone Wars. They're not going to be able to follow any of it. They're going to be bored by it. So I think the fact that they're aiming this more for older kids and they're kind of getting away with whatever they can get away with, I think is really great. With that said, the final episode, or the last 2 episodes, I should say, which is pretty much a takeoff of Deadliest Game, where Ahsoka and some other young Jedi, they're hunted for sport pretty much. Again, it's a good episode to see Ahsoka grow. I like that within every season, like, the characters grow. I think even in the next season, again, I started, I'm not too far, but like there's one where Anakin's captured, she gets herself captured, and, he's like, oh, good job, and she's like, it's all part of the plan, and he's like, oh, okay, need any help? She's like, I got it. Like, I love that. I love they actually grow that trust over the seasons. The characters really do seem to evolve, and, even if it's to a point where, one of them is inevitably gonna fall. You know what's gonna happen to Anakin. So I like that. And like I said, in all these, I like the dread that's kind of through all of that. Actually, it's difficult to get used to seeing these ships as good guys. The big Star Destroyers, triangle ships and stuff like that. And, the stormtroopers, the uniforms and stuff. It's every time I see it, I have to tell myself, wait, those are the heroes. Like, I'm so used for years seeing the Star Wars movies where those were the bad guys. So it's funny getting used to that. But the one with the Deadliest Game one there with the hunt, what I really like about that, the first thing the show made me do, and I always say something's being done right if I do this, I gasped. I actually went, like that, and I do not do that watching something. And you probably know the scene I'm talking about. I mean, I feel like I've talked to, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this, you've seen the season, so, I mean, I guess if you haven't, spoiler here, but whatever. It's when the girl got shot. The one that was, like, the leader of the group, and she was with Ahsoka, and then you think they get away, and then suddenly, bam! I mean, it's not like she disappears behind somewhere and you hear a zap. I mean, you just see the laser, like, go into her. It's just like, whoa! I completely did not see that coming, and again, I feel like it really helped, raise the stakes, and again, just sort of emphasize to Ahsoka, okay, this is on you, man. This is like all on you, and they really have to get, this plan down. I didn't know about seeing Chewbacca there. That felt a little lame. And I like Chewbacca fine, but do we really not have enough callbacks? The first episode is with Yoda. You have the Emperor. There's Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff. It's like, do we really need Chewbacca in there too? I don't know. I didn't totally see the point of it, but maybe you like that. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. But yeah, again, anything that can kind of get a reaction out of that, where I'm so invested, I legit gasp at something. I think that's a really good sign of that's a really good sign of a good show. So those are the ones that really stuck out to me. This is the first season where I'm like, I gotta finish this. I just gotta finish this season. And it's not even like the last episode had like a big cliffhanger to be continued. It's just more like, I want to know what I know this is gonna wrap up at some point. And with the movies where it's, where they're gonna go and stuff. So it's like, I just gotta know how things turn out. I just have to know, even though I know like what's going to happen to certain characters, I'm still like, but how does that happen? I want to see it happen, like so invested, even though I know what's going to happen. I want to see how. I want to see the reactions. I'm so invested. I want to see the characters' reactions to these events happening. I want the details. It's kind of like knowing history and being a part of history, you know? I mean, like if you're obsessed with the Civil War, you hear about it, but people are going to want to know the detail of the battles and stuff like that if you really, really get interested in it. This feels like that. So I'm digging it, man. I hear season 3 on is where it gets like the most interesting, like, you know, season 1 and 2 were kind of like the training seasons, I guess. But again, I like them. I thought they were good. So I'm all over it, man. I dig it. So what do you guys think of season 3? Is this where it started to really turn for you too? And you're just like, dude, I'm so invested. Or were you invested from the beginning? Or is it maybe a later season where you're like, yeah, season 3 was okay, but 4, holy shit. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about season 3, and I will just see you at season 4. Take care. Take care. I did that whole thing without a cut. I fuck up the last word. Oh my God. Take care.